Good evening. This is Quintus Curtius, and welcome back to the podcast. It's been a few weeks since we've done a podcast because I really haven't had any subject that really was worthy of doing a podcast about. But that changed today because I got a good email from a reader early this afternoon, and he has a question about self-publishing his memoirs. And let me read you his email. Looks like a really good guy here. He says, after some very, the usual respectful preliminaries, which I won't read off here, but he says, QC, I wanted to ask you about self-publishing. He says, I kept a journal during my time in Afghanistan from 2009 to 2010. I've been working on typing it out with a deeper commentary, and he says he's nearly finished it, but he doesn't like the companies that he's found so far that are willing to print it. And he's wanting to know if I have any suggestions or recommendations. Okay. Well, you came to the right place because I've been publishing my own works now since, 2013 or 14? Been a long time. And I know a little bit about this area. And if what I will tell this gentleman, first of all, it sounds like he's a veteran of Afghanistan. And what I'm going to say applies not just to his type of memoir, but to anyone who's thinking of publishing their own work, whether it's a work of fiction, nonfiction, biography, memoir, whatever type of literary output that you decide to turn out. These rules apply equally to any form of literary work. And if you feel a little bit disillusioned about these publishing companies, these alleged publishers, you're not alone. A lot of them are very, very close-minded in the type of works that they're willing to publish. Everything with them is about profit. All they care about is what they think is going to sell. And if you're doing something or you have a voice that's an original voice and you have something to say that does not fall within the mainstream accepted range of what's considered, popular at the time or something they want to deal with, you're going to be ignored. Okay, these companies don't care about literary merit. They don't care about new ideas. They don't care about what's cutting edge. They don't want to hear new voices unless you fit into the prescribed parameters of what they think they can market. So, luckily we live in an era where you can do things yourself and you don't have to rely on anyone else to help you get your vision out there. And you really should. This gentleman, if he was a veteran of Afghanistan, obviously he's seen some things. He's got something to say. He has a voice that's worth listening to. And, I commend that. I think that's great. I think I say that to anybody, it doesn't matter what type of work. Again, whether you're writing horror, pulp novels or science fiction or poetry or plays or screenplays or biographies, histories, whatever it is that you're writing, if you have an original voice, if you have something to say, and if you have the commitment, if you're willing to make the commitment, and if you have the passion, you can do it. You can do it. And there's some satisfaction in doing that. All right. So what are the steps? How do you go about doing that? Well, it's not hard, frankly. It's not hard. Really what it comes down to, it's not so much getting it out there. It's, frankly, getting other people to buy it. And, that's been the perennial problem, I think, with authors from the dawn of the days when people started to write for profit. I think Erasmus of Rotterdam in the 1500s was one of the first writers in European history to really earn a living by his pen. Before that, authorship was pretty much confined to men of independent means, people that secured patronage from royalty or from the Vatican or from other source, and it was not considered a remunerative exercise. But in any case, even if you don't quote make money off it, because frankly, you need to accept the fact that no one is going to become It's very, very, very rare for someone to become wealthy just by his pen. I mean, usually people need to have a regular job. It's only the actual blockbuster authors, the guys like, Stephen King or whatever, these fiction authors who can really make a living completely by the pen. And that's fine. That's okay. That's you shouldn't do anything with the expectation of profit. If you do make something profit out of it, consider it nice, chalk it up to experience. But when someone has a literary work to put out there, it's because there's some sort of voice that's within them that's crying for release. And they need to do this to get these demons out of their chest and to get them onto paper. And that's really what writing is all about. And that's how you should look at it. So the first step, the first step in producing a work is you've got to do the work. You've got to produce the work. You've got to get the manuscript, as we would say, the MS, the manuscript. You've got to get that produced. And if it sounds like this guy already has a diary or a journal that he can basically kind of, flesh out or polish out, that's going to be a big help. So he already has a skeletal outline almost in place. But if you are not someone who's literarily inclined, if you are not someone who has a literary bent or you can't write, then, the only thing you can really do is you can try to hire a collaborator to help you edit the manuscript or put your manuscript together, or maybe you can dictate it, or you can have someone else assist you in it. That type of work is probably going to be expensive because those people, I think, are going to charge you for it. But that's not something I've ever done. But I understand there are people that do that, and frankly, that's fine. If you're not someone who's adept at writing, you probably should try to find someone who can help you. So regardless, in any case, the first step is just to get a manuscript. And once you've done that, the second step is really to decide where you're going to publish your work. There are numerous print-on-demand publishing platforms now. There's the most famous, obviously, is Amazon. There's others like I don't remember the names, like Ingram Spark, and there's a few others out there who produce print-on-demand books. There's a good number of them now. And they are the ones that will actually turn your manuscript. Well, you first have to get it formatted, but we'll get to that section. But these print-on-demand companies are the ones that will produce your book for you. And print-on-demand is actually a pretty incredible technology when you think about it, because in the old days of printing, you had to go to a publisher and you had to pay in advance, and they would produce a certain number of books. They would say they're going to print 10,000 of them, or they're going to print 5,000 or 500 or whatever. And the ones that didn't sell after a certain point, the publishers would pulp them. They would destroy them. So it was, and you read about some of these authors in the 19th century, like Herman Melville, like his works. He would produce these novels and they wouldn't sell. And they would basically have to pulp them. They would get a whole warehouse full of of published works and just pulp them. I mean, today's these first editions would be priceless, but in those days they weren't worth anything. But time is like that; things change, But in any case, once you have your manuscript, the next step is to get it formatted. The next step is to get your manuscript formatted in different formats so that you can publish it. And there are many different formats you can go with. There are some people that just go with ebooks, electronic books like Kindle or EPUB or other electronic types of books. There are some people that you can get it formatted for a paperback edition, or you can get it formatted for a hardcover edition. I mean, there are just a lot of different options. So you have to decide really how much you want to spend and what material, how do I say it, what type of product you want to offer the public in terms of your book. Do you want to offer it as paperback, hardcover, or ebook? I mean, I've always made the decision of going with everything. My books are for the most part, not every book, but for the most part, are in electronic form, paperback, hardcover, and even audiobook. But that's going to depend. I mean, you've got to do what you think is best, and what you really have a tolerance level for. So once you decide on that, you can go to a formatter. You can go to a formatter, and you can find them on. A great resource for this is the website Fiverr. It's www.fiverr.com, and this is a website that's really populated with people who are offering services, formatting services, all types of document preparation services for a fee. And what you do is you contact them. You search for what type of work you're wanting to get done. You contact several of them. You interview people. You decide who you want to go with, and you pay them, and they do what you ask, and they furnish you a manuscript that's formatted in the appropriate. Let's say you're trying to publish your manuscript on whatever, Amazon or something. They'll format it for you in whatever. Let's say you want to do a Kindle version or a paperback version. They'll format it for you for a fee, and you will then have to upload it to Amazon's site. And you can go and I'm not going to bore you with all the details. That's something you have to figure out on your own. I mean, you can read how to actually do that. It's not hard. You simply just go through Amazon's process, and you upload your manuscript, and you do it, and you go from there. Same thing with any other. If you decide to use another service, I mean, there's others. I don't recall off the top of my head the names of these places, but there are a good 5 or 6 print-on-demand services, and you can use whichever one you want. I'm not here to sell you on any particular one. It doesn't matter to me, but that's what you do. You put your book out there, and then you can offer it for sale in different places. They'll ask you where you want to sell it. You can offer it for sale at any vendor, say Barnes & Noble or thebookdepository.com or Amazon or whatever. It doesn't matter. So that's the process, man. There really isn't any mystery to it. There's no magic to it. There's no secret wave the magic wand. You've just, frankly, the number one thing is you've got to have something that's that you have to really want to do this. I mean, one thing that I think all authors is they have a passion inside. They're doing what they do for a reason, because they have a voice that they want to get out there. They have a message that they need to convey. They have something to say. And if you are in that category, it's not going to matter to you how much money you make or don't make. It doesn't matter. Because once you get your memoir about Afghanistan out there in the system, you're going to feel a great sense of relief. Once you get back to your house and you can sit back in your chair and hold it in your hand and go through it, you're going to say, I did this. This is great. I'm really proud of myself that I did this. I saw this through. I saw this project through from beginning to end, and God damn it, I'm proud of what I did. And there's really nothing that beats that sense of satisfaction. There's really nothing that matches that. So those are the steps. Number 1, get a manuscript together. Number 2, contact a formatter through whatever venue you decide to use. I suggested one. There are probably other people you can contact in different services. But, once you get your formatted manuscripts, then you can upload them to whatever print-on-demand service you want to use. And then you can try to offer it for sale, through your friends or social media networks or whatever venue you decide to offer it up. So that's it. There's no mystery to it. It's a lot of work, and I don't recommend doing it unless you really want to do it. If this is something that you view as a weekend armchair dilettante exercise, you're not going to last. You're not going to make it happen. So you better have a message you better have something to say, and you better have the passion to see it through to the end, like everything else in life. All right. That'll be enough for now. I'm Quintus Curtius. Good night.